Personalizing student engagement is only possible when enrollment management and MARCOM are aligned. At Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, Ryan Hogan's team uses Element 451 to improve student outcomes.
They love the AI functions where if they're coming up with an email campaign, they can ask it to help develop something and then they go in and edit that. They also really enjoy the use of the landing pages for the campaigns that we build. So not only do we design emails and things, but we can also have landing pages that can give information to our students. And so it really brings the team together. So our enrollment staff is helping identify what the issue is, and then the marketing and communication staff can collaborate with them in Element to provide the solution for the problem we're trying to solve.
Aligned teams create better experiences for students. Visit element451.com to learn how an AI-first student engagement platform fuels a smarter, more connected campus experience.
Welcome to In Your Element, the podcast that unlocks practical wisdom in higher education, where leadership meets real talk. I'm Brendan Henkel, Manager of Solutions Engineering here at Element 451.
And I'm Daniela Norden, Element 451's Director of Customer Success and Engagement. Join us every other Thursday for discussions with everyday heroes using Element 451 in enrollment, marketing, and student success. We'll unlock the practical tips to help you make waves on your campus.
In Your Element is a part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below.
Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.
We are back with the episode I know you've all been waiting for after hearing the first episode, but we are back with Abe and Jessica. We're here with Durham Tech to talk about what they're doing with student success. If this is your first time listening, go back, listen to the first episode, then go into this one because you'll want that. But Jessica is the Director, Enrollment Management and CRM Strategy. And Abe is the VP Student Services Officer here with us. They are both not only partners, but incredible friends, as we discussed kind of the ins and outs of our relationship last episode. So welcome back, you two. Excited to have you here. How are you doing?
Oh, wow. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I took a vacation, went to the Outer Banks for about a week. That was a really fun time. That's where we kind of grew up as a family going to. What about you all? Any trips recently?
I was just at the Outer Banks myself.
Outer Banks as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just got back yesterday.
That is beautiful.
I'm feeling a certain type of way because I didn't get an invite from anybody to go to the Outer Banks. So we're going to move on to the next question, Brendan.
That's true. Fair enough. Next time I will know to invite you. We'll let my wife stay with the kids and me and you can go hit up the local scene in the Outer Banks.
No, thank you. You're not getting me to anybody's issues. No, thank you. She will not be tracking me down.
Oh my goodness. Well, seriously, thank you both for coming back on for a second episode. And today we're really going to be covering really the student success piece, which I know you all really were a partner with us as we kind of wanted to go into this foray deeper of student success. And I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, but there was an alignment between what you all were wanting to do in kind of our ethos as a company and what we were looking to do. So I'd like to dig into that. Abe, what really for Durham Tech, what does student success look like and how did that alignment come to be?
Yeah, it's a fascinating question, to be honest with you, because when you think about student success, I think there's two perspectives that one should always consider. Is what are the institutional goals as it relates to student success, and then student success as it pertains to each student that we serve and support. And of course, you have students at the community college who come to us for varying needs, and there's a diversity of students to begin with. Some of students come to us for pursuing a curriculum program. They're trying to get a certificate, associate's degree, or diploma in some type of applied science degree or a university transfer degree. You have other students coming to us for continuing education because they want to enhance some skill set or pursue some interest, personal interests that they may have. And then you have other students who come to us for college and career readiness, which they're trying to complete a high school diploma. So considering all of those different populations that we serve here, I'm going to go global and think of the institution perspective of student success. Student success for us at the college means that these individuals are coming to us and they're accomplishing their goals that they've set for themselves, that they've entered into a program, entered in a class, entered into a course, some type of coursework, and they're completing that coursework or that credential in a fashion that meets that individual's needs. So to us, that's student success. Also aligning them and positioning them to either transition into a different position that provides them with the opportunity to advance and make greater income or at least livable wage outcomes, or they're transferring to a four-year university, right?
Yeah.
That aligns with our strategic plan where we're looking to have 60% completion of all our students coming to our doors are accomplishing that goal academically. And then I also think student success from a perspective of institution being able to respond to needs of students that arise. Our reality is that when we serve students at the community college, students don't stop being the extension of who they are when they walk through our doors. And so the challenges of life that may come with them, the prioritization of things that may surface while they're trying to focus on academic that may attempt to distract or deter their path. I mean, student success for us is making sure that we're providing the supports and services needed to maintain focus for that individual on their academics. So if there's some level of life circumstance, early success for us is being utilizing a technology and a resource that can help us resolve or speak to the immediacy of that need for that student. So institutionally, that's what student success to me means.
I always find it beautiful. I love the part where you are like, the moment they walk through our doors, their circumstances don't change. Like a phrase that I will commonly say is you are recruiting your student the whole time they're part of your institution, because recruitment is not a term that is just used for the, inquiry application process. You should be recruiting and supporting and caring for and engaging with them throughout the entire. And I think that's where a lot of schools have missed the mark, not intentionally, of course, just not really deploying the right strategies or having the right tools and things like that. So what was it? And I think you even almost started alluding to this. What was it that you saw with Element that helped align with where your mind was thinking and tracking with student success?
No, without a doubt. So for me, it was how do I integrate a system, one system that can do all of these different things, that can engage a student from the perspective status of the application process, but that now I can also utilize the same system to allow our employees to interact and communicate with the student. And how do we keep them engaged and informed in a very deliberate way, timely manner, to ensure that they are conscious of what is happening either in their application or in their classroom. And so for me, it was really having the technology needed for us to provide the highest level of customer care immediately. I think that's the biggest factor for me, is the timeliness of responsiveness that we're able to engage our students with, because we know that our students sometimes are a flat tire away from not being back with us. And so we need to be as astute, responsive, and judicious with our time and how we're engaging and communicating and connecting with our students. So that was, to me, some of the attributes of Element that really attracted me. And again, I'll say this, similar to the previous podcast, was having someone who understood that vision, having someone that understood that putting more demands on employees to learn different systems is just not an efficient way of doing our work. So we had to advance with the technology and the times that we're in. And so this was an opportunity for us to do that, leveraging the Element 451.
Wait, so you mean to tell me that student success isn't just early intervention, Abe?
Nope.
What?
No,
That's what
sir.
are you talking about?
No, sir. It's an ongoing
What?
process. It's a continual opportunity for us to engage, communicate, and ensure that students are having what they need throughout the life cycle of their journey as students and beyond that. Because
Yeah.
the reality is that these same students come back to us for different reasons.
Yep.
Some of them come back because they want to re-enroll in coursework and enhance what they've already accomplished. Others come back to us because they want to explore different options. And so we need to make sure that we have a system that allows us to integrate and be completely involved and aware of what our students are wanting and needing.
That's awesome. And I know a lot goes into that, right? Like you were able to sum it up beautifully, obviously, because I mean you're you, but there's a lot that goes into that mindset shift, right? Because now from a strategy standpoint, you have to look at what you're doing on the back end. And I'm actually going to pull in Miss Jessica for this next one, because I know you are doing a lot of the groundwork of on the behind the scenes, what's happening, build out the nitty gritty stuff. I still will randomly see messages coming through Basecamp from you or from somewhere else. And I'm like, she's on it. She's doing some great things. And so I'll be able to see that. But like the things that you're doing, what was your approach? Maybe throw out some of the workflows and communications that you kind of set up to support these students the way that Abe was just telling us about.
Yeah, so we put together a team. We call us the early success team.
I love it.
And
I love it.
and so
We
the
need t-shirts, by
ESS
the way. We need t-shirts, by the way. I'm just saying.
So the ESS team basically designed this system, right? We knew, well, actually, we didn't know the capabilities that Element had. We went with this idea that we could make anything possible, and that Element would just design the system beautifully the way we have it. And so, and for the most part, we're still on track. So we're doing good with our design, and you guys are doing good with keeping up with our design. So with that, we wanted to capture different data points, right? We wanted to use the support areas. We wanted to be able to let students identify support areas, but we also wanted to use data such as attendance and course grades and things like that. And so because we had so many ideas, we had to break our design into different phases. And so we have phase 1, 2, and 3. And so phase 1 actually is just wrapping up at the end of this term. And that one consisted of what we call the student pulse checks and the faculty referral form and the supplemental form. And so the student pulse check is literally a text message to the students. And we had to be strategic in when we deployed these text messages based on our course types. So, 8-week courses, 16-week courses, curriculum versus Con Ed or continuing education. And so, being strategic when the courses are, or when the text messages are sent to these students, for them to be able to reach out and say, I'm in need of transportation. I'm in need of financial support. I'm in need of, we go as far as like career services and career support. So, maybe they're at the point where they want to beef up their resume and practice those interview skills. So we have all the different support areas identified that they can check. And then that would then create a task for those areas for them to respond to the students and give that immediate responsive connection with the students. So that's one of the areas that we built these workflows and communications. The other one is upon application, they have the ability to submit a supplemental form. And it's basically a quick survey just to do a snapshot in time of, do you need any kind of supports? If so, can you elaborate on that? Maybe again, it's the transportation piece, maybe it's financial support. And then we can immediately send them those resources so that they can know where to go to find them, who the point of contact is for that person. And so again, we're just trying to, like Dr. Nona said, we're trying to be at the forefront of it to capture early on, but it's not just retention based, it's supports to help them get through, but also continue their education in ways that they need it. And then the faculty referral form, we had something in the past that was similar,
Okay.
but it only referred them to tutoring.
Okay.
And so this was more elaborate. This allowed the faculty to identify if they noticed any kind of areas that the student might need support, or if the student had maybe vocalized something to that faculty member, they can identify for them. And again, get that immediate connection with that support area.
Now, let me ask you something on that. Is that done on a regular cadence or just as needed? Like if they notice it, if they see it, then it's submitted, or is it on a regular cadence for them?
The faculty referral form is just when it's noticed, the faculty know they can get the link, submit it.
Yeah.
The pulse check, we have not a cadence, but
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that that's huge though, because, and this is something I've talked to people about. Whenever I was at Achieving the Dream in Philly, go Birds, I was able to talk with a ton of schools on student success. Again, their measure of student success is early alerts. Every time you say it, it's like a trigger. Everyone says, "Oh, you have early alerts." And I'm like, well, yes, but more. But what I noticed is a lot of schools are doing this on a cadence to where it's like a super big burden to faculty, where they're like every week or every quarter, every certain amount of time, they have to fill out this like big survey and go through individually all their students and all this stuff. And it's super ineffective because they're not remembering, or they forget to do it. And then if they forget to do it, it's locked and they can't get back to it. And then the student's not getting support. So I think supplementing that approach, you've almost built a hybrid of it, right? Where you're like, hey, we want the input from the faculty when it's needed, but we're going to take the system and what's happening with their courses, their grades, and all these different things to do the rest of it.
We send out little nudges of, hey, don't forget about this, at the beginning of the 8-week term A and term B. But no, there's no requirement of specific timing, and they absolutely do not have to submit it for every student.
Yeah. And what kind of data and insights have been most valuable for you all so far with identifying the students that need support?
So we just piloted ACA courses this past term, this spring course. And so most of the data analysis is still in review because the term is just wrapping up this week. We will go in a deeper dive to see what kind of retention it, helped with the students. But just overall general data, we've got some like how many student pulse checks were submitted, for ACA classes alone, which I believe we're looking at total of between the term A, term B, and 16-week. I think we had roughly 800 students total. And so we had over 85 students complete the student pulse check, with a handful submitting them multiple times. So, reaching out for additional supports on a separate occasion. And then we had over 100 faculty referral forms submitted within this term. So again, that's a big uptick from what we saw previously, because it's a broader form capturing more data. And then our largest piece that we saw the most return on was the supplemental form, with over 1,100 forms submitted since the beginning of the spring term. And then again, that one is where they just get an immediate response, sending them to that resource. So,
wow. That's awesome. Do you know what emerged from those supplemental forms? Like what situations, things like that?
Most of them were wanting success coach support, and then or tutoring support were the most identified area. The other quick followers were food pantry. That's another one that gets a lot of support checks. Yeah. And so we get a lot of food pantry referrals. And with that, like I said, they get an immediate response that tells them the hours and when they can go grocery shopping versus when they can just pick up a snack.
If I can jump in and
please,
and add some.
Well, you
context.
Remember I said Philadelphia and you didn't say go Birds.
Go Birds.
That's right. Thank you very much. All right, continue.
I'm trying to refrain because of some of the comments that we received on LinkedIn.
Oh, did we receive some?
Did you get?
You didn't see the one?
We can edit this out.
Someone enjoyed the podcast, but they were like, "It's too much Philadelphia Eagles." It's never too much Philadelphia Eagles. Number one,
Must have been a Giants fan.
I did respond to them though, to let them know. But I think what's important to highlight here is when Jessica made mention of requests from success coaching. So success coaching is a new framework that we're utilizing and implementing here at the college for maybe like 2 years now. And one of the things that we are constantly challenged with is how do we know that this is working? How do we know that our success coach framework is making a difference? This now begins the work for us to dig a little deeper into that data. And this helps us now justify and find reasoning behind the role of the success coach and how are they having influence and impact on student success. So I believe it's extremely important that we're able to capture all of these different types of measures when it comes to what these referral forms are indicating. But now it also gives us leverage to really have something quantifiable that we can look at to say, out of 100 requests, 50, half of them were for success coach. That's huge, right? When you start thinking of it on a larger scale. I think what's even more significant is now we're able to track which pathways at the college are now requesting more support. So that will also help us as we continue to grow as an institution and in our enrollment, that we are now positioning ourselves to ensure that we have the proper supports for human resources to be able to respond. Because one of the things about Element 451, it's a magical tool. It's great, but the work doesn't get done by the tool itself. We always will have a level of human interaction that's going to be needed,
Of course.
in order to provide supports to individuals. The tool is the mechanism by we're making that connection a lot sooner and much more efficient.
Absolutely. Yeah. We always, that's one of our taglines. I like taglines and I also hate them because I feel like people are like, it's super cheesy, but it's like, we are, AI focused, but people centered. Right. And I always view AI and automation as the tools that should be actually driving human interaction and figuring out what needs human interaction versus what doesn't. And I think AI is an incredible tool that's been able to amplify what that's able to do and help schools be a lot more efficient in that process. So yeah, that's a good piece. Absolutely.
Want to know what AI-powered people-focused really looks like? The 2025 Engage Summit will show you how AI transforms engagement without losing the human touch. Join us June 24th and 25th in Charlotte for actionable insights, hands-on demos, and transformative strategies. Enrollify listeners save $50 with code Enrollify50. Sign up at engage.element451.com.
So whenever you think about the Element team and whenever you think about your student services team and how that has kind of evolved through the deployment, what does that look like from a CRM team, from a student services team? How is that kind of relationship budded and formed, and what did that look like throughout?
Change is hard for some.
But
For
we
some.
love change.
I think you can change
embrace
some to
change.
most.
I'm a change agent, so that's not hard for me. But recognizing that everybody has their unique way of being and trying to be very mindful and respectful of that as a leader is important. I think what we are experiencing now is a coming together of the minds and a level of partnering and collaborating that makes our work more meaningful, but also in alignment with each other. It's a lot easier for us to understand the student life cycle. We have clearer vision of where we need to make soft handovers between one area versus another. We have employees now who are interested in improving maybe some process within their specific area where we can leverage the use of Element 451. So not only are we impacting our ability to serve and support students with this tool, we've created opportunity for our employees to be more engaged and involved in how do we create processes that improve their work and that allows them to make more meaningful connections with their students and moving away from maybe some manual processes
Yes.
So to me, it brings a greater level of satisfaction for our employees. It brings more fulfillment in the work that we do. It allows for us to be engaged at a higher level with our students and with one another.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jessica has a different perspective on this.
No, I would agree. I think we alluded to this in our last podcast too, as well. It's Element 451 has become the buzzword at the college, right? And so it's everyone wants a little piece of the pie now. They're curious of how can this help their role and what they're doing. And so I think it's brought us kind of all together in the sense of, oh, like I can make my process easier. Let me hear more.
I love that. That's really awesome. I loved hearing that. I think a lot of times change can almost be a driver for like divisiveness, right? And so the fact that you're seeing the opposite, well, it's not easy at times, but you're starting to see the fruits of being consistent and kind of being able to push through the pushback that comes along with change, which is really cool.
Yeah. It wasn't immediate.
Yeah, right. Not
it
immediate.
It took a little bit, right? But we're getting there.
Yeah. And I'll add one more thing, Brendan. I think this has also created an environment and a culture of curiosity.
Yes.
Where now you have individuals who are willing to explore and consider doing the work differently.
Yeah.
So when you talk about change, while there was a hesitation to embrace it, I think where we are right now is a continual process of looking into what this may be and the considerations of what type of changes we need to make in order to adapt and evolve to the current day needs of our students versus how we've traditionally done things in the past.
You did it again. You gave us the episode title within the episode, How Durham Tech Developed a Culture of Curiosity. Boom. That's it. See? I know whenever I hear it, I know it. And I heard you say it. And I was like, nope, that's it. That's the title. Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. 100%. So let's dig in on the process piece of it a little bit more. Because to your point, Jessica, it wasn't something that you went to bed and woke up and everyone was like, we are in a culture of curiosity. Let's do this together. It was much more different. So what did you guys do from training and support strategies that helped them adopt and helped you really create that culture of curiosity?
So let's see, I'm trying to think back from the beginning. Obviously those that are in the work were getting training and getting, hands-on experience. And then we designed a process. Actually, we wrote out a procedure first and decided we need a way to emphasize how individuals are going to communicate using Element. And so we created a policy procedure for the college and established super users within the pathway. But in order to kind of make that effective, we had to have training modules. So we used our LMS to create our training modules. So all of our trainings are listed in Canvas, and some of them are you might go through every one of the trainings depending on, your role at the college, or you might just take an overview. We have just a basic overview of Element 451. And so we have all these training modules, super users go through all of them. And now we're just getting requests. Hey, can I get this training? I don't really know much about Element. I want to know a little bit more. Actually, I got an email today that said, I want to see what Element's like. I don't know what it is, what it consists of, and I want to see more of it. And I was like, okay, here's the
culture of curiosity
training. Yep, there it is.
What team did that come from?
Oh, that's a team that's not really even in Element. That's why I was like, well, you haven't been invited because your role isn't really in Element at this point. But
they want to learn already.
They want to learn.
Mm-hmm. I need to know what team is it? You don't have to give me the individual's name. What team is it?
Compliance.
Compliance.
Oh gosh, what is it?
It's okay if it's not specific. They work in compliance.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on the acronym we use for
You're
that.
Good. Compliance team. I just think it's beautiful to see what y'all are doing and to hear other teams that are just like, wow, what they're doing is something that we want to kind of be a part of. And now we want to learn how we can kind of implement that change. I don't think you realize that's very rare to develop that kind of culture at a school. Like everyone has their tools, their processes. They love them. They don't want to move away from them. Like for you to be able to have people not just a willing to do it, but to be coming to you and saying, I want more knowledge on this so we can look at how we can start to make these changes. That's really, really rare. And that is something to be commended from you all's rollout process at the school, because whatever you're doing, which I know we're talking about right now, is working. And it's not something that is a common thing for schools to be able to achieve, is that level, that type of culture.
Right. I'll tell you the department. I got it with Abe's
Yes.
help. CDAC, Curriculum Development, Assessment, and Compliance.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yep.
How can we use Element?
Which, to Jessica's point, it's not a student-facing department,
No.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's really an area of the college that is probably on the back end more employee-related than anything else. But
Yeah.
there's some work that they do that we believe can benefit from
Mm.
how we're leveraging Element 451. So it's really exciting to hear that. I'm gonna add to Jessica's response, because I think to highlight where the curiosity entered in, we had an opportunity to share some early wins
Mhm.
as it related to what we were doing with Element 451. And one of those early wins was our admissions processing for our health and wellness pathway.
Mm.
Because students apply to the college, and then there's a second tier of application processing for specific programs within our health and wellness pathway that students have to meet criteria for in order to compete for admissions, because they're limited enrollment programs. And so we had a opportunity to have a college conversation, and we introduced the results of the admissions process for our health and wellness pathways. And I think it created interest by the college and really sparked curiosity when individuals started seeing kind of some of the outcomes that were accomplished from moving that process from an Excel-based, ineffective shared document between a program director and an admissions counselor and the going back and forth to now this one system that kind of contained it all.
Mm.
And kind of made it really seamless, not only to have students apply into and give them a status of where they are, but also when you were able to accept your cohort of students, giving them timelines to accept their seat in the program, because that has been challenging in the past, depending on who they're communicating with and talking to. So having a repository in one place, all this information in one place, just made it very seamless. And I think sharing that information out to the college in that meeting was what sparked some of this curiosity as well, where people were like leaning a little bit inwards to be like, what are they doing? We're creating some efficiency around our work. This is fantastic.
Right.
And so to me, that was one of the areas, opportunities that really helped engage our employees at the college, having a little bit more interest on what we were doing.
And what was the catalyst for that meeting? Like who was like, hey, we should do this and bring the school to see it? Like, what was the idea there?
Yeah. So one of our strategies here is, how do we become better in communicating what we're doing as a college, and
Cool.
how do we share this information out? So our president host college conversations where we just provide updates on certain things. It just so happened that this college conversation was around what we're accomplishing with Element 451. And so we were able to share out and have visuals and created a conversation with the audience, and they were asking questions, and it really just promoted and lifted up what we were doing at that point in time. Back then, it was all about CRM, and then introducing, here's what the next phase of this implementation for the early success system. So it was really attractive, not only from our student services areas, but now from our faculty, because now they'll be engaged with the system in a different way.
That's awesome. Now, you talked a little bit about sharing early wins of using Element, but what all have you seen from early wins from what you've been doing as your early success measures?
So I think there's several things that we can consider as early wins. Number
Early wins,
one,
or a specific success story, anything, right? Any
Well-
really thing really that you have.
Well, I think the first early win is that we've gone through kind of a test phase of the early success system with one of our courses, which is our ACA class, right? And that we were able to test the system test the referral forms, test the post checks, right? And they were successful. We've seen some great results from it. Now what we're doing is making sure that we're building this to a point where we're at scale, right? Where it's fully implemented at the college. It also, the early win is it gave us a litmus test of what this may look like in the future. And so it's helping us prepare our minds around what the volume of demand may come along with now this quicker way of interacting and engaging with students and vice versa. Now our employees at the college need to go into the system and respond to those requests that are coming in. So what kind of shifts will happen for an employee's daily routine is going to be also impacted by what we're doing here. So for us, it's testing the system, making sure it's doing what we need it to do, and then moving toward a timeline to fully implement it for the entire college. And so we're in different phases for different things. Right now, we're focused on curriculum programming, but the next stage for us is we've already identified close to 40 continuing education programs that we will now put into Element 451 early success system.
Yeah.
So this is a game changer for us because we've never had a system to support two populations, different populations of students. This is the first time we're doing that as a college.
And there's a lot of schools that are worried that the tools that they're using cannot do two different populations. So the fact that you are going to be living it real life is huge, man. It's huge. That's awesome, man.
Well, tell them to give me a call, and
of course
I can host a dinner, and then it'll be on Elements time.
We'll go to Outer Bank. We'll go to the Outer Banks. My wife will watch the kids, and then we'll hang out.
Okay, now I get an invitation. Okay, I see how this works.
Oh man, I always enjoy my time with both of you so much. But it's time, right? We have to do the when you're in your element. And we did one of you last time, and now it's the other one's turn, and I don't even remember which one went last time. So if you wanted to scapegoat and put it on the other person, you can do. Just kidding. Who was it again?
I went last time.
You went last time.
Abe's up.
Your turn, man. When are you in your
and you can't say
element?
You can't say anything related to the
Yeah, we're gonna get more comments if you start talking about the Eagles.
I am in my element when I'm watching the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. Okay, I am in my element, but I understand the question at hand. In all seriousness, I'm in my element when I see individuals like Jessica coming together with advising, coming together with financial aid, coming together with different departments and divisions of the college to create opportunity for improved supports and services to our students. You can't ask for anything more than that, in my opinion. I'm in my element when I'm seeing us improve how we serve, how we support, and how we provide the highest quality of care and customer support to students, responding to their immediate needs, but also ensuring that we're allowing them to focus on their academic journeys, which is why they came to us to begin with. And so for me, those are the pieces of the puzzle that come together that allow me to be in a very good space and in my element.
Awesome. I love that. Beautiful. That's a mic drop. This is, again, for you, listener, this is part 2 of a 3-episode series. So there's another one after this. So stay tuned. We're going to be meeting with Abe and Jessica again, and you'll have another episode coming. But thank you both again for doing this series, doing this episode. And I'm excited for our next talk.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan.
Awesome. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
In Your Element is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too.
Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional.
Our shows help higher ed marketers and enrollment professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your host. Learn from Mallory Wilsey, Artis Kadu, Maya Demishkovich, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed.
Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered, all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.